Respect threads. I was recently contacted about information regarding a respect thread for my work, and I will forever think that is too cool. The only problem with that is that because there is no comprehensive guide or an accurate guide of my work outside of what I write in the website or the slightly outdated information in the Wikia and Reddit, there's no way to give an accurate respect thread. Suggsverse as a franchise isn't a finished work. It's ongoing, the same way Marvel or DC is. People go off of 5 books or so when there are actually 100+ stories. I kind of understand why a Voyager, because that's what they want to do one on why a Voyager would be so intriguing. But then I also find it odd when people don't know about the verse and its depth to actually understand just like how deep it goes. Respect threads about the Voyagers will end up being incomplete simply because of the vast amount of information and the lack of context of higher tiers and hierarchies in comparison to lower ones. Respect threads about Eve, Skylar, Prey, and whatnot will fall into the same situation. The same can be said about characters that are omniversal. There are no guides about the universe, so it's really, how can you accurately measure the scope of certain characters to their fullest? There are no guides to basically gauge it because the universe itself, despite being the smallest cosmic metric, has 108 layers within it. And there's 365 sub-layers that are coming that describes what it is. And it's so much information that I guess it's hard to really get into it, if that makes sense. You can't really dive into all of it because it becomes overwhelming. It's because of its vast nature that people really should get into it, because it's the context needed to explain any of the character's power, just like looking at Suggs logic. Then you have to realize that in my work, characters that are in a particular bracket now might not be in there in the future, or might not be there from earlier issues. Some people might look at someone like Christopher Sincere Pride and see that it's tier 4, but when they're reading the book, understand that in Solecism 1, dude was in tier 8. But when you look at the existential categories that talks about the tiers, it's only really measuring power. And as you know, in my work, I have the limits of power, which is basically their stat sheet. And power is at the lowest metric. So the whole existential categories / tier list only really is looking at 1 out of 8 rankings. You see what I'm saying? So you can't really accurately judge anything from that. And ultimately, without context of the universe and everything that's in the first floor, let alone the concepts in the universe that literally ends at the universe, a lot of respect threads would end up looking meaningless. I do think that it is super cool that people want to make respect threads of my work. I do, and I've seen some floating around. I just want to say thank you for the interest and effort. But if you're trying to do one of the higher tier characters, it's probably going to fall apart without a ton of context of the lower stuff.
Hey, where are you going? To the art gallery, right? Good. You can find all the things Heir to the Star related at www.heirtothestars.com. And hopefully you can surpass the Ace of Spades while you're at it.